former St. Louis principal pleads guilty to hiring someone to kill his pregnant mistress.
Jocelyn Peters was shot to death in her apartment in March of 2016. She was 27 weeks pregnant with Cornelius Green's baby at the time.
Sure, $2,500 may not seem like a lot to us, but out there are people willing to do anything for even less amount of money. $500, $200, $1,000.
Imagine you take a short trip to Chicago to enjoy the city and spring weather. You return home to St. Louis, and as soon as you walk in your home, you disturbingly find your 7-month pregnant girlfriend shot in the head. Surrounding her, you notice she just finished you guys' baby shower invite list. You immediately call 911 to report it, but days later, officers called back stating that your car was found at the scene during the time of the murder. This is the horrific and tragic case of Cornelius Green and Jocelyn Peters. Hey guys, welcome back to KW Lawholic. It's Kayla, and today we're here with another case that is just absolutely crazy. So thank you for tuning in, and if you're new, welcome. Jocelyn Peters was born on January 7th, 1986 in St. Louis, Missouri to her mother, Lacey Peters. Growing up, she always loved children, and she was generally known to be super sweet. She graduated high school with good grades, and that eventually led her to attend the University of Missouri in 2004. She did cross as an SG Rho, which is a Sigma Gamma Rho sorority incorporated, and she graduated from the University of Missouri in 2007. Through that, she eventually ended up becoming a teacher and teaching at a public school called Horatio Mann Elementary. During this time, she was currently teaching 3rd grade, but she did teach all types of grades from elementary to middle. She received the Pettis Award for Excellence in 2014. This award is only given to the most outstanding of educators. So that right there tells her that she really took her job seriously and she really cared for the children. She lived in an apartment by herself in the central West End area of St. Louis, and she got pregnant in 2015 by Cornelius Green, who was a principal at a nearby school. She was super excited to give birth to her child that she had even already named her. Now, let's get into the day of the crime. It happened on March 24th, 2016. At around 3 p.m., St. Louis Police Department received a call from West Pine Apartment 201. That was her apartment, and it was Green who apparently made the police call. When he called, he reported that his girlfriend had been shot. He told dispatch that he left the apartment, hadn't touched her, and that he thought she was dead. Officers did speak to Green that day at the scene, and they said that his behavior was quite odd. He was very calm, a little bit eerie, and he showed almost no emotion at all. When he spoke to the officers, he claimed that he was not anywhere near her, the house, the area when it happened. He was very quick to present to them his train ticket to show that he had been in Chicago. He was literally securing his alibi. So because he did prove his alibi, police had to go on towards just their own investigation. Now, Green, he was a well-known and respected school principal. He worked at Carr Lane Visual and Performing Arts School, where he also did attend in his high school days before he went himself to the University of Missouri as well. He was indeed in a romantic relationship with Jocelyn Peters, but it was a hidden relationship. Come to find out, Green was married and had a completely separate family. He had a wife and daughter. Green had got Peters pregnant before, but he did force her to get an abortion. But this time around in 2015, she did get pregnant again after they kind of moved past the first incident. And here we are with her 7 months pregnant now. Jocelyn was very determined to keep the baby because Green had promised her that he was going to get a divorce from his wife. In February 2016, police, according to their investigation, found out that Green hatched a plan to kill Jocelyn and their unborn child. He had sent a text on February 29th, 2016, to a childhood friend of his named Philip Cutler, asking him if he could come to St. Louis the weekend of March 20th. Cutler replied back, "Okay, that will work. Are you sending the package?" So on March 7th, 2016, Cutler took $2,500 from his school fund that he worked as a principal. He stole the money and put it in a UPS package toward Cutler to pay for the murder of Jocelyn and the baby. In between that time, Green and Peters went on a birthday trip for her 30th birthday. This wasn't just them being a couple going on a trip. He took a cruise with Jocelyn and her entire family to celebrate her 30th birthday. He sent the package to Cutler on March 7th. They got back from their vacation on March 18th. On March 21st, Cutler traveled from Oklahoma. He stayed with Green's sister for 3 days. So he arrived on March 21st, but directly after, on March 22nd, that morning, Cutler drove Green to the train station. There, Green boarded his train to Chicago. But before he left Cutler with his car keys, his car, and the key to Jocelyn's apartment. Cutler is still staying with the sister, and on the early morning around 3 a.m. on March 24, 2016, Cutler drove to her apartment. In her apartment, Jocelyn, 7 months pregnant, alone by herself, had just finished her baby shower invite list and fell asleep. Cutler then used the key to break into the apartment. He snuck in and he shot her in the eye with a .38 caliber gun. According to research from police investigation, Cutler used a potato as a silencer on the gun to make sure it wouldn't be a loud noise and wake any neighbors, or so no one would know anything of what was happening. He told police during questioning that he saw a movie called South Central, where a similar character used a potato in the same manner as a silencer. At 6:14 a.m., Cutler then made a phone call to Green, letting him know that Jocelyn and the baby were killed. Cutler then went to North Riverfront Park to dispose of any evidence. At the same time, Green in Chicago purchased his return train ticket home, and he arrived back home around 3 p.m. When he arrived back in St. Louis, he picked up his car and drove directly to Jocelyn's apartment. And when he did that, that's when we kind of bump into, he ran to an apartment, he called 911. According to police investigation, they did find a video footage from a close by resident that showed his car at the scene. Also were able to find out through police investigation that Cutler was actually detained the same night as the crime when he went back to the crime scene to get the car, Green's Kia Altima. When he was being detained, Cutler ate 2 pieces of paper from a small notebook he had in his pocket. What was on those papers? Was it more instructions for Green? Anything that could have just gave more away that, they've been planning this and this is what's about to happen. From that is how Green became a suspect to detectives. This allowed detectives to find out so much more of what he had been planning and how long he had been planning it. 100% murder for hire. Search of his computer and phone history showed that for months prior, he had searched how to cover up the bitter taste of abortion pills and how long into pregnancy can abortion take place. He really did not want this baby, and he was trying to do everything in his power to get rid of it. Statements that really hit hard for me were from the Assistant U.S. Attorney, Tiffany Becker. She had said that Green had woven a web of lies. He was trapped and had no way out. Now we can move on to after the crime. Green is sentenced to life in prison on federal charges. The St. Louis Circuit Attorney's Office will drop all the state charges they had for him, which included 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of armed criminal action, and 1 count of burglary. According to a plea deal that he was able to attain and get. The state charges had carried the possibility of the death penalty. So I guess you can see why he decided to take that agreement, because at least with the federal charges, he would just have life in prison without a chance of parole. Now, Cutler, on the other hand, he is being charged with murder for hire and conspiracy to commit murder for hire. And the same charges basically as Green, but he didn't get any plea agreements. Those are his charges, life in prison. He is to be sentenced on June 18th with life in prison for each of those charges. Jocelyn was a sweet, innocent soul and very hopeful to have her first child. According to social media, she enjoyed watching Law & Order, and her favorite movies were Brown Sugar and Something the Lord Made. So sad that she had to experience this, and it's also very tragic that her baby girl was never able to enter the world and live a full, fulfilling life. My condolences to her family, especially to her mother, Lacey Peters, and I hope that she's able to find some peace. So thank you guys for joining me back on KW Lawholic for another captured case, and I hope to see you next time.